What's up guys, my name is Matthew and today I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated books of 2022. So I didn't really intend to make this video. I kind of have just been keeping a list for my own sake of books from my favorite authors or authors that I know about or books that sounded interesting in like a Word document. And I was like, wait, maybe I should actually just make a video talking about all the books that I'm most looking forward to that are coming out in 2022. I have about 10 of them. I have my notes right here. So I'm going to talk about the books that are coming out. I'm gonna tell you briefly what they're about based on their description online and kind of give you what their ratings so far are on Goodreads. The first book that I'm so pumped about is called A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham, and it comes out January 11th. And it is about a girl named Chloe who lived in a small Louisiana town, and 6 girls went missing when she was a little girl, and eventually her dad got accused of being a serial killer and went to jail. And then apparently we flash forward 20 years and she is a psychologist practicing in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and similar situations start happening again. Wait, maybe my dad wasn't guilty after all. Why I'm so excited about this book is because I actually went to college at LSU, which is in Baton Rouge. I went to law school at LSU, which is in Baton Rouge, and I practiced law in Baton Rouge for about a year. So I lived in Baton Rouge for 8 years, and I love reading about books that are set in areas that I have lived in or spent a significant amount of time in. So I'm really, really pumped that this book is gonna be set in Baton Rouge. I hope LSU is a part of the book somehow. I mean, I doubt it will be, but it'd be so cool if we get kind of like academia vibes built into the story. Additionally, when I was about 10, there really was a serial killer in Baton Rouge, from what I remember. And I remember being terrified because we used to go up, I'm from New Orleans, and we used to go up to Baton Rouge for swim meets. And I remember when I was a little kid, I was about 10 or 11, and this whole serial killer thing was going on. And my mom had brown hair, and my babysitter and swim coach had brown hair. And the serial killer was targeting women who were about between 20 and 40-ish who had brown hair. So I was so scared. I remember having so much anxiety, and I wouldn't let my mom go to the bathroom by herself because I was scared the serial killer was gonna get her. So it's so weird. This book is actually set in Baton Rouge, and there's about a serial killer. And that kind of breaks down where my anxiety comes from as a person. As a 10-year-old, I was worried about serial killers. So I think that describes a lot about me and gives you a little bit of background about why I'm so cuckoo. All right, but that's the first book I'm so excited about. I think it comes out January 11th, and I just found out that it is a book of the month for December. So it looks like I'm gonna actually get to read it in December, except not 2022, but technically it's a 2022 release. When I saw it on Book of the Month, I was like, oh no, because I've been trying to get an arc for this book forever. I've been like, I emailed the publisher, I'm like, hi, I'm nobody, but I would love to read this book. And they didn't respond. But it looks like I'm getting my hand on it before publication, thanks to Book of the Month. But that is the first book I am super pumped about, and I'm going to read it right away. So that book has about a 4.2 on Goodreads right now, with around 1,000-ish reviews, but I think that number is about to jump significantly because of Book of the Month, and it's releasing. Like, everyone's gonna be getting that book within a few days. So the next book that I'm looking forward to in 2022 is called The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. We all know who Lucy Foley is. She wrote The Guest List and The Hunting Party, which are closed book mysteries, and it looks like she's releasing another closed book mystery in February. I think it's February 22nd. And this is about a girl named Jess who wants to move in with her brother because she needs a new start. And when she gets to the apartment that her brother lives in Paris, he's missing. And this looks like it's gonna be another closed book mystery. If you don't know what a closed book mystery is, it's when there's a bunch of characters and somebody dies and one of the characters is the killer and everything's kind of closed off, so there's no outsider. This one doesn't seem as closed book as the other two because it doesn't look like they're isolated, they're just in an apartment. But it says that we have the socialite, the nice guy, the alcoholic, the girl on the verge, or the concierge. It's the nice guy, just letting you on that right now. And one of them is going to be responsible for maybe getting rid of her brother. Is her brother dead? We don't know. How does her brother afford this really nice apartment in Paris? That's all I know so far from the description, but it sounds right up my alley because I love a closed book mystery. This has a 3.99 right now, but it only has 143 ratings, which is kind of shocking because I would think, since Lucy Foley is kind of a big name, she would have sent out a bunch of arcs, but maybe not, which is also kind of concerning. Like, why didn't you send out a bunch of arcs yet? So that's concerning, but I'm still gonna read it. She does a great job at writing a closed book mystery. I always say on my channel that she's our modern Agatha Christie, which is a huge compliment to Lucy Foley because Agatha Christie is the queen, the mystery queen, especially of closed book mysteries. The book on my list is 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. I've actually only read one book by Peter Swanson, The Kind Worth Killing, but I absolutely adored it. And doing research for this book, I realized that I need to read 8 Perfect Murders, which came out in this year, 2021. So I'm gonna read that in December. But 9 Lives is about a group of 9 strangers who receive a list of 9 people, including their name. And they're kind of like, why did someone just send me this list of 9 people? And they just kind of discard it. And then one by one, bad things start happening to these people. Like an old man is drowned, apparently. A father is shot in the back while running in a quiet neighborhood. And people start to realize that, wait, this group of 9 people might have something in common, or they're being targeted for a specific reason. Peter Swanson does a great job at plot twists. Even though I've only read one book, he kept me on my toes the entire time. But this book comes out on March 15th, and I am definitely gonna try to read more by him before this book comes out. Okay, and as for Goodreads, it only has 113 ratings. Also, like, I thought famous authors released their books to a lot of people, whatever. 113 ratings, and it's at a 4.13. So, 113 isn't a lot, so that doesn't really tell me much. But definitely looking forward to that and trying to get more Peter Swanson books under my belt before this book comes out. All right, the next book on my list is Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead, which comes out April 5th. And spoiler alert for for my video that's gonna come out about my favorite books of the year. In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead is my favorite thriller of the year so far. And there's only a couple of weeks left in the year, so I doubt anything's going to surpass this book. So when I saw that she was gonna release another book next year, I got so excited, and I was expecting it to be a thriller because this is a thriller, but it turns out she's releasing a romance book. And at first I was pretty upset because I was, no, you did such a good job at writing a thriller. But then I kind of have come to terms with it because the reason why I like this thriller so much is because she does such a good job of blending in relationship dynamics on top of the mystery, and that's why I like this book so much. So I was like, maybe she would be good at writing a romance because I connect really well with her characters in thrillers. So if we're throwing even more love on it, she's probably gonna be really good at that. But I was just reading again what this book is about, and I'm already super intrigued. This is a book about a girl named Lee who is a boss-ass bitch. She works for a company like Tesla, and she is a big worker woman, but apparently she's a stoner drinking guys under the table. I'm quoting the description. And she doesn't trust love. Oh, shocker, a romance book where the protagonist does not believe in love. And she doesn't trust because her father cheated on her mom, and she believes this guy named Ben cheated on her while they were in grad school, but it turns out he didn't, but she thought she did, so I think she cheated on him. But then apparently Ben shows up 5 years later as a policy expert for the most liberal governor in Texas history. And apparently maybe they try to work things out again. Tensions build, just as old sparks ignite, fanning the flames for a romantic dust-up the size of Texas. Cringe. But I cannot wait for this book because this author knows how to write. This was her first book. I'm excited to see what she can bring to the table, and I'm excited to explore her romance. Like I said, April 5th. This book only has 36 ratings, but it has a 4.56. If someone can tell me how to get an arc of this book, I will love you forever because I would love to read this book before it comes out in April because it is one of my favorite books of the year, definitely my favorite thriller. But yes, that is Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead, our favorite thriller of 2021, trying to take on romance, and we'll see how she does. All right, the next book on my list is Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and Emily Henry has become one of my favorite romance authors of all time, especially modern. She released People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read, which were both 5-star reads for me, 2 of my favorite romances that I read this year in 2021. This is another book surrounding books, and it's about a girl named Nora who is a literary agent, and she's another boss-ass bitch. We love to see it. And she moves to this small North Carolina town, and she's never the girl who falls in love. Shocking, another protagonist who doesn't believe in love. But she runs into this guy named Charlie, and Charlie, she knows from her past, I believe, but they don't get along, so I'm assuming this is another hate to love, just like Beach Read. People We Meet on Vacation was a friends to lovers trope. This was kind of a hate to love trope, kind of similar because these characters also knew each other from the past. But that's all I know. Why I like Emily Henry's books so much is because she always takes a simple topic, in my opinion. Like when you read about Emily Henry's books, you're like, oh, that sounds basic, whatever. But she does such a good job of taking a basic plot premise and crafting these really in-depth characters and making you really, really feel with them. And that's why I'm gonna read any book that she comes out with because she does a good job of giving me the feels, and it's not easy to give me the feels. But this book only has 311 ratings, but a 4.60. That's pretty freaking high. So I'm excited about this, and this, as I said, comes out April 5th. Another book that comes out April 5th is I Kissed Sherry Wheeler by Casey McQuiston, and she is the author of my favorite male-male romance of all time, Red, White, and Royal Blue. And this year she also she also released One Last Stop, which I have not read yet, but I'm gonna try to get this in December so I don't have to make it a backlist. But the book sounds really interesting. It's about a girl named Chloe Green who is trying really hard to be valedictorian, but her only competition is a girl named Shara, I don't know how to say her name, Shara Wheeler, and she kisses Shara, but when she kisses Shara, Shara disappears. That can't be how you say her name. So I'm sorry, S-H-A-R-A, Shari. Shara kisses Chloe and vanishes. But it turns out Chloe is not the only girl or boy that Shara kissed. She kissed other people, and apparently Shara's leaving clues to figure out what happened to her. It's reminding me of that Netflix show where that girl, or that, was it a girl? Yeah, the girl left like tapes when she killed herself, but I think that show was problematic, right? But it's giving me that kind of vibes. I don't know if this girl is dead, but is this a thriller? This is probably one of those cozy thrillers, kind of like Finley Donovan's Killing Aunt Dolly for Aunties and stuff like that, where it probably has romance mixed in with a little bit of a thriller, but it's not gonna be an intense thriller. But this sounds promising. I will definitely pick it up. It says it's young adult, which always makes me nervous, but she released Red, White, and Royal Blue, so we're gonna have faith. But yes, this comes out April 5th. I Kissed Shara Wheeler. Okay, the next book you all saw coming if you watched any of my videos, and it is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, which comes out June 28th, 2022. I have read 5 books by Riley Sager. His first book, Final Girls. His second book, The Last Time I Lied. Lock Every Door. Home Before Dark. And this year he came out with Survive the Night, which was definitely a flop for me, and I really did not like it, but I've liked all of his other books. So I hope that he redeems himself this summer, because he got a lot of hate for this book, and I feel bad, but it's only because we love you, Riley Sager, and we know that you are really good at doing plot twists and writing thrillers. So I'm excited about The House Across the Lake. This is about a girl named Casey, who is a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press. So she goes to her family's lake house in Vermont, and she's watching a couple across the street, Tom and Catherine. She saves Catherine from drowning one time on the lake, and then her and Catherine become friends, and she realizes Catherine and Tom, their relationship might not be as good as it first appears, and she thinks that things aren't as what they seem, and apparently Catherine goes missing, and apparently we have to figure out what happens. This sounds so Riley Sager. I'm hoping he comes in strong with a really big twist. I hope he learned from last year and doesn't use like mental illness as a plot device, because I'm just really not a fan of mental illness being used as a plot device. But I'm really super pumped for this book. It comes out June 22nd. I feel like all of his books come out June 28th, sorry. His book comes out June 28th, and all of his books usually come out about that time. And they're usually a book of the month. This year, Survive the Night was actually an add-on, but it was still a book of the month. But that should be good. And you know I can't do a most anticipated books release without talking about Riley Sager's book of the year. All right, the next book on my list is Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Blake Crouch is one of the few sci-fi readers that I read, and he's probably the most popular in the bookish community for people who don't read sci-fi. I've read Dark Matter by him, and I've read Recursion by him. His books are always very, very thought-provoking and very, very confusing, but he does a good job at breaking things down for a non-sci-fi reader to kind of slow it down for us who are not used to all the crazy stuff that's happening. I'm not going to try to explain this to you. I'm going to read it to you. I know that's not fun, but if I try to explain this to you, you're not going to understand. When the SWAT team gives the all clear and Logan Ramsey steps into the basement, he has no idea that everything's about to change. Then there's the hiss of aerosol, the explosion, the shrapnel that punctures his hazmat gear. Logan wakes up to find himself in a hospital bed, attended by doctors in their own hazmat suits, his wife and doctor looking on from behind the glass. The doctors say he's been infected by a virus, one designed not to make him sick, but to modify his very genetic structure. In a world where the next generation gene editing tool, known as Scythe, is widely available and has already reaped disastrous consequences, the possibilities are too many and terrifying to count. Except that after the fever, the pain, the fear, the virus is gone. And according to his government bosses, Logan's got a clean bill of health. But the truth is that each day, this is freaking long. But the truth is that each day that passes, Logan's getting smarter, seeing things more clearly. He's realizing that he's been upgraded in a way that's beyond even Scythe's capabilities. All right, so he gets it. It's like that movie where the person takes the pill and he becomes like superhuman. So I don't think this is groundbreaking, but I'll read it because he does a really good job at writing sci-fi books. So yeah, it looks like some weird surgery and he becomes superhuman. Is that the gist? Was that the gist? Did I do a good job of summing up in one sentence? Because that was a lot of words. Very wordy, but I summed it up, I think, and I will read it. And that comes out, I don't know if I said, it comes out July 19th. Yes, so I'm sure that'll be a book of the month too, because his other 2 books were book of the month. Oh, and for Goodreads, there's no ratings. There's no ratings, so I guess no one has read this book yet. All right, so the next book on my list comes out August 2nd, and it is Husband Material, which is the sequel to Boyfriend Material, which I read last year. And I think I gave this like a 3.5, 3. I didn't love it, but the reasons I didn't love it is because I didn't like the side story about the main character's relationship with his father. I didn't think it was done well, and I honestly skimmed those parts, and it was pretty long for a romance book, but I'm excited to read this one. This looks like it picks up after they've finished this book, so I won't spoil anything, but this book is a fake dating trope where they try to fake date, and maybe they fall in love. But this next book seems like they're trying to get married, but we have to deal with funerals, social pressure, and other weddings. What? Like, that's all I got. Like, that's all they tell me. So apparently they're getting married. I wonder if it's gonna be 500 pages of them dealing with their wedding. But it has a 4.74 with 42 ratings. But I'm sure I'll read it, but I'm hesitant towards this one because I was not in love with this book. But that comes out August 2nd. All right, so the last book on my list is from Allison, Cochrun, who wrote The Charm Offensive, which was one of my favorite books of the year, one of my favorite male-male romances of all time. I did a complete reading vlog on it, and I'll link it down below if you want to watch it with no spoilers. This one doesn't have a description, but the comments on Goodreads say that a queer holiday rom-com in which a struggling artist agrees on a fake engagement to her boss only to fall hard for his sister while spending Christmas with his family. Okay, so a Christmas lesbian? Is it 2 women? Yes, 2 women fall in love. All right. So it's I'm like reading people's comments because there's no description. I'm like learning this as you learn it. Disaster bisexual artist and her butch baker love interest, quote. All right, I'm intrigued. I'll definitely pick it up because this book was fantastic. This does not have a release date, but I think it says fall 2022 from what I've seen so far. So I think those are all of the books that I'm looking forward to in 2022. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing from some authors that I love. If you can think of any that you think I would like, please drop them down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in another video soon.